You're in the terminal, hundreds of people frantically walking in all directions. Lights and sounds surround you, telling people what to do and where to go. Now it's time to board. You take your seat and you're off to anywhere in the world on a moment's notice. This everyday happening is, of course, the modern miracle of the United States airline industry. This complex system spans all over the country and the world, connecting people to the places they need to be, both quickly and economically. I've been a corporate pilot for the last 3 years, dealing with this environment directly. This system has been wonderful to be able to see from a first person's point of view. Today we will look at the history of the airline industry, the current conditions of the industry, and what the future holds for our greatest achievement in transportation. I hope at the conclusion of this presentation you'll have both a greater understanding and appreciation for this modern marvel. The airline industry has deep-seated roots with the United States Post Service. At the end of World War I, the United States had a large surplus of military aircraft and pilots desiring to keep a job in aviation. They were able to achieve this goal by flying the mail for the United States Post Office. It was such a large success that the Post Office was actually the first government agency to regulate these airlines. As the aircraft grew larger, so did the airlines. The airlines transitioned from carrying mail in two-seat Stearmans, as viewed on the left, to moving large number of passengers in transport aircraft, as viewed there on the right. These became the aircraft that were commonly known as airliners as we view them today. It was a war that gave airlines their start, and it was a war that pushed them further into the public eye. Airlines were able to secure large government contracts to carry troops and supplies all over the world to further benefit the war effort in the Second World War. According to John Lucas of World War II magazine, the war would have been a great struggle in the early stages without the effort of Pan American Airways' Trans-Africa Air Route. These years of service solidified the airlines as a staple in American transportation. The airlines have come a long way since World War II, transforming from a seedling of an industry to a $186 billion a year industry that's grown almost 5% annually. This strong growth has been experienced through 2012, along with carrying passengers of as many as 737 million a year. One problem with the current conditions of the airlines is the increased ticket prices. According to the MarketLine U.S. Airline Industry Report, fuel prices have increased from 12% of airline expenses to almost 40%. Airlines have been on a cost-cutting initiative since the large fuel increases in 2009. Aviation has shaped our country for the last century and is poised to take us into the future. The U.S. Airline Industries Report states that the industry is slated for gains in growth for the next 10 years. However, government policies may prove to be stumbling blocks for this recovering industry. The Colgan air crash of 2007 involved a Colgan Dash 8, seen here, that crashed on a short final going into Buffalo Airport, killing everyone on board. The FAA just now responded to this event with the 1,500-hour rule requiring pilots of airlines to have at least 1,500 hours of experience before working for them. This is not expected to affect any of the major or legacy carriers. However, the feeder routes are expected to be affected greatly, having large vacancies to fill with lack of experienced pilots. In conclusion, the airline industry has supported our country for the last century. It has protected us against foreign foes, has connected us to people and places that we love, and while there were troubles in the past and likely troubles in the future, it is apparent that the airline industry is here to stay.